Sora, video, AI.
We're talking about Sora today, Sora, which is the latest OpenAI announcement. The latest we talked about Sam Altman last week raising $7 trillion. And actually, you know what? Well, it's not a mea culpa, just a clarification. At least one of the publications that reported on that walked it back a little bit after we released the episode, basically clarifying something that you said in our episode last week, which is like that 7 trillion figure is more of like a total addressable market that he was talking about and not so much about an exact dollar amount that he wanted right now, which you did kind of talk about.
I think I talked about that ad nauseum because the figure is so absurd.
Yeah.
So we're one of the true, like this, they talk about fake news. Here's the opposite.
This is real news. And Sam Altman also came out with a gag on Twitter and was like, it's 8 trillion now. I'm raising 8 trillion.
Yeah.
So very funny. But OpenAI have released or announced rather their text to video system.
Yeah, but I think that the quote unquote 7 trillion is, well, I mean, we released that episode and once again, you know, the news then came out like less than a day later or a day or so later and it kind of answered some questions. Like we were talking about, like they obviously recognize that they need serious amounts of compute.
A huge amount of compute.
And then to the point where, you know, the capacity, like they will not be able to access the capacity right now. They need to be making their own chips in order to get to the future that they want. And, you know, I guess, you know, whatever their models require and whatever content they're acquiring will require immense amounts of compute. Next minute, they're releasing AI videos.
A text to video. Yeah, exactly. We were like, what could Sam Altman need all this compute for? And then, yes, the very same day released the episode, they've announced Sora, their text to video system. So we've talked a bit about AI art and like AI image generation. You know, you go to Midjourney, you go to DALL-E, which is OpenAI's one. You type in beautiful elf with huge cans, and it generates that for you. You put in, you know, Donald Trump with a gold Kalashnikov.
Yeah, and it says, sorry, I cannot make that for you.
I cannot. Well, OpenAI says that. Midjourney's like, you know what? I think we can work something out here. And, you know, Stable Diffusion being the open source alternative. We know, and I'm sure you as a listener know, that AI images have made leaps and bounds over the past 18 months, which has, on the one hand, been cool for guys that love to sit around and type in those exact phrases I was just talking about, has been concerning for people who worry about the polluting of our information economy.
Yeah.
You know, people who think...
Media literacy.
The media literacy crew, the guys who are always like...
They should be teaching media literacy in schools.
Yeah, exactly. And they're saying that because they saw a picture of the Pope with a Balenciaga puffer jacket and they got scared. So yeah, that stuff's obviously made leaps and bounds, but AI video has been a little bit less well advanced to date. Yes, there's been stuff. Meta has a model, Google has a model, you know, various different companies have produced the models for it, but most of them have been
trash.
Pretty crappy. Like they produce 5 seconds of weird, blurry, jerky shit.
But this is the thing. I'm going to say it right now, and I'm probably going to reiterate this multiple times throughout the episode, so apologies in advance. Any technology that you're looking at, and we said this 12 months ago, don't judge it on now, judge it on 5 years. They looked crappy. Images looked like shit 18 months ago. Remember when, like, basically when it first popped off, which actually was Pope Balenciaga, they actually happened to pull out a real heater with the Pope Balenciaga.
Well, he's killing it in that image. The Pope is swagged out in that image.
He is swagged out, but thank God his hands are in his pocket because, like, at the time they couldn't do fingers, right? Like,
yeah, well, I think that was because that was Midjourney 5 that picture came out, and it was a big leap from Midjourney 4, which was already better than, well, I guess Midjourney 3, but the ones before that. But Midjourney 5 was actually the one where they figured out hands, or at least made hands a lot better.
Yeah.
And 6 has just come out, which is obviously another jump along. But 5 was definitely one where people started being like, oh, these look like photos.
But anyway, point being, when we look at both those videos of like the flying dog or whatever on the Meta thing that look like shit, and we're like, well, you can't be like, this will never look good.
No, well,
and the same is true right now. These videos have their flaws.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But, well, like, describe a video.
Yeah, exactly. So, as I said, the ones before were not so great. Sora was announced on Friday of last week, the end of last week, and OpenAI, they haven't released the model. They're giving it to some designers and creatives to mess around with. They say it's going through like their safety procedure. But if you go to like the Sora site on the OpenAI website, it basically shows minute-long clips. So to date, these ones before have mostly been 5-second, 10-second long little shitty AI video clips. These ones are longer, and they say they can go even longer than that. And they look pretty good. Like they have stuff like, the prompt is like camera fly-through of Tokyo during winter, and there's a woman that's crossing the road. And just like, the most recent version of DALL-E or the most recent version of Midjourney, it's pretty good at taking relatively detailed instructions about what happens in the scene. And it looks, as you said, still a bit weird, a bit freakish. You can definitely tell that it's not real, but way better.
I wouldn't say definitely tell, but yes, there's an uncanny valleyness to it.
There's an uncanny valley. And it's one of those things where the more of these videos we'll see, the more we'll begin to like see the particular things that it normally gets wrong.
Yeah.
Like even Midjourney, if you're someone that looks at enough images online and knows what Midjourney is, you can pretty quickly identify, like, even if it's seemingly photorealistic, you're like, that's got a real Midjourney vibe to me. And it's the same as like, when a piece of, like a few paragraphs of copy has been written by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's just got that kind of stink to it.
But I will say on that point, like, yes, definitely. ChatGPT in particular, we're still trying to work out like an adjective for that, right? I can tell that straight away. Sure, topic is a very complex and interesting topic. That like it'll always start with that kind of shit. Anyway, and in summary, in conclusion, it's like no one fucking says that.
Yeah,
like we don't need to announce
Downright
our
is
conclusion.
a complex and multifaceted podcast.
Yeah,
that kind of crap.
It's important. It can't be understated. Its importance to tech and culture, etc.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, for me, for example, it said to me the other day, to clarify, it's inappropriate to stereotype French Canadians. Because I did ask it, because I was trying to come up with a banger reply to someone.
All right.
And then I was like, what are some nasty stereotypes for French Canadians? And I had to tweak my response a little bit, because obviously initially it was flat out like, I will not
That's
defame the Quebecois.
Montreal is a fine.
Yeah, Montreal is the largest French-speaking. It's the second largest French-speaking city in the world. I was like, no, give me that nasty stuff. And then it was like, all right, French Canadians are lazy. That was his first response. So after I kind of tweaked it a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry, but yes, me and you, and realistically, a lot of the listeners to this podcast can spot that, right? They can spot the AI voice. They can spot the AI image a little bit. It's got the sheen.
But your average person, maybe not.
Nah. And by average person, I mean 99% of people. Oh, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like because they're not doing what we do. We are the 1%.
We're the 1%. We're the guys who make tech podcasts and think about computers all day.
You're subscribed to a tech business culture podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the algorithm has determined that you should see this on YouTube or whatever, or TikTok. So you are different.
You are
special.
You are the Übermensch, as described by Nietzsche.
Congratulations, you made it.
I agree. And if there's people have been sharing a lot of these screenshots on Twitter and whatever of basically boomers not understanding that something is like
something's afoot,
a complete like stereotypical Midjourney output. Like what the one I saw the other day was like, oh, here's a photo of some random American town completely blanketed in snow after a snowstorm the other night. And it was just like, it was literally like cartoonishly Midjourney.
Yeah.
Like it looked like a weird little village from a cartoon or something. And basically it was like hundreds of comments like, wow, I've never seen this in my life. And when I saw it, I was like, we are so cooked, man.
Yeah. Well,
we are so cooked.
I mean, you were just showing me on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. So there's a whole genre. I mean, we're getting off track, but we must.
It's all connected.
It's all relevant.
It's all connected.
There's a genre of TikTok where it's basically like someone has used Midjourney to generate like 80s luxury penthouses. Yeah. And then they chuck like a vaporwave track underneath, like a woozy kind of like fuzzy thing. With just like, classic shit like big indoor pools on the top.
With palm trees everywhere.
With like palm trees and then like a city skyline in the background,
Yeah.
and you've got this woozy vaporwave going, and they're like, 80s vibes.
Yeah.
And then all the comments are basically just like the world's stupidest 15-year-olds being like, I was born in the wrong era. or the one comment which really got me, which was like back when rent was cheap with like 3 crying emojis.
It literally implies like I would be living in a 60th story penthouse with a pool and palm trees.
I'd be living in like the Miami Vice dream world.
Yeah.
If it weren't for...
Because I bet that was like $100 a week.
But thanks to NIMBYs...
We're not putting luxury pools on the 60th story penthouses anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, but again, if you look at those comments for 5 seconds, you're kind of like, all right, I might be a sharp guy. I can spot an AI art, but I don't know. Maybe the rest of the world can't. The other thing is I don't buy into like the slightly more hysterical version of this because I haven't really seen it happen yet. Yes, we had Pope Balenciaga jacket. That was funny.
Yeah.
And every now and again, you'll see something that's kind of like someone's done, I don't know.
Well, Princess Diana with the Sony hat.
I think that was real, though.
Yeah, I think that was real. I'm still not sure, though.
Yeah.
I asked the internet and couldn't find an answer.
Yeah. There's a post on the Down Around Twitter. There's a photo of Princess Di wearing a cap with the Sony logo on it.
A flat brim.
Which goes very hard.
It goes insanely hard.
But I do think that was actually real. But then, I don't know, there's like mid-journey generation of like Trump kissing Putin or something.
Yeah.
And all these like American Democrat boomers are like sickening.
I support their right to do it, but
it is
shows that shows it about their collaboration.
Yeah. I haven't to date
Collusion.
actually seen an AI generated photo, video, whatever that's been of actual political consequence. If I'm wrong, drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen one.
Yeah, I mean, also we should discuss from a Western context in that a rumor spreading on WhatsApp hasn't led to, a minor pogrom in Australia as yet, but it has in other parts of the world.
That's true. But if you know of an example of where like an AI generated image has actually had major political consequences, let us know because nothing comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so bringing it back to Sora,
it's good.
It's good. It looks good. Obviously this is all the outputs that OpenAI is showing us.
Yeah.
They claim that all these outputs are not edited and they're purely from within Sora, but who knows? And they are like a huge leap forward from the rest of the AI video that we've been shown in the past.
Yeah.
They seem to cohere with the prompt pretty closely. Mm-hmm. They look relatively nice. And so there's been lots of speculation, lots of wild-eyed fantasies about what this means.
Yes.
Even though, again, the average person doesn't have access to it. And we also don't know how much compute it required or how long it took to make any of these things.
I would suspect that these things take more than an hour.
Yeah,
I would guess. My guess would be somewhere between kind of 20 minutes to an hour to produce 1 minute, I would guess. That's just a guess. That's a pure guess. And I mean, obviously that would scale with the amount of compute and blah, 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 blah. But I don't think that this stuff just gets pumped out like an image. And even an image takes a while.
Yeah, like a DALL-E image or a Midjourney image. Like Midjourney, even when you're turbocharging it, a batch of 4 images, because they come in batches of 4, so you can pick which one you like. It takes 45 seconds to a minute. And if you think about a video, if it's 60 frames a second, you're getting 10 minutes of video. That definitely adds up. In the same way as rendering video generally.
Yeah, which in the short term is because this is one big annoyance with AI image and video that is kind of not true of text to a certain extent. Is you generate text with AI and then you just edit it, right? It's very easy to just change words, take bits, ignore it, but maybe mentally imbibe some concepts or whatever. But it's very easy to edit AI text and make it suit because it's very. It doesn't often give you exactly what you want.
No, but right? you can tweak it.
You can tweak it. It's super easy. That's the whole thing with text. Image, that's harder. I did see some cool stuff with apparently with the Apple model, the unreleased Apple model. You can say change the coat to red, and it'll give you the same image, but just with the coat red and whatever.
This was a research paper that Apple put out, which basically was their own image to text or text to image model, where it was kind of very clearly intended for regular consumer use. where the idea is that I could take a photo of you right now and just be like, can you change Raf's glasses so they're red instead of blue?
Yeah.
And like that would just do it for you.
That's way more useful, obviously, than right now being like, I got to retry the prompt, and then you're going to get something potentially totally different.
And sitting in front of Midjourney right now and be like, epic dragon flying through mountain range, you know, and then having to keep doing it to get exactly the right epic dragon.
Yeah, Pyrenees, you know, HD, Ultra 4K, etc.
Yeah, so
no, I know you don't need to do that anymore.
It takes a while. It most likely takes a while to render.
Yeah, but video, what I'm saying is even harder. Again, with image, you could then chuck it in Photoshop if you were that way inclined and edit things and start it as a base, or, you know, like the actual Photoshop feature, change backgrounds and whatnot. But video, that's another leap again to like actually having usable footage.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I mean, of course, it's still going to be possible, like stock footage, blah, 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 and we need to look forward to the future. But it's still, regardless, it's still very impressive.
Yeah, so anyway, who knows how it works in practice or whether it's practicable for a whole bunch of people who have access to it, but they've done it. So there's a few things that I think worth talking about to figure out what's going on. The first is there's been rampant speculation about how it actually works.
Yeah.
Because, as we said, everyone else that's doing this, the video, at least what we've been shown, looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's been some consumerized ones, but as I said, they all give you like 5 seconds of AI video. Who knows what you would even use that for.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of crappy. This is giving you high definition video, a minute long, cohesive, like coherent video. So like one of the things they demonstrated is like they had a street scene. I think it might have been that Tokyo video. And there's like a street sign that has like an arrow on it. And like a woman appears and walks in front of the sign, and she walks past it and her head blocks out the sign for a second. And when she emerges on the other side, the sign is still the right sign, which, you know, sounds simple, but when you think about it, that's pretty complicated for some sort of AI system to work out.
Yeah.
Or there was another one where it was like the reflection of a person standing in a train carriage. Like they were standing in a train carriage. There was like a reflection of what was going on inside the carriage on the glass. And then you could see like the foggy city beyond it. And it was moving. And again, when you think about it, you're like, that's actually really hard to do with CGI. Like CGI editors find it really hard to work with reflections.
Yeah. There was another one of someone's reflection in water and the physics engine of it, like actually realistically kind of moving with the reflection.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of people looked at these videos and they were like, "Oh, that's like really impressive." It seems like this would require a bit more than just like an AI image generation, which is kind of like, you know, looking at a million different images to figure out what this still image might look like based on the prompt. So one of the speculations is, and this is like, as I said, purely people putting thought bubbles out there, but there was like a senior NVIDIA engineer on X who did a big thread about this. A few other people have talked about it. The idea that maybe when you prompt this, it's creating sort of like a three-dimensional world, which is kind of like a game engine. So a video game engine like Unreal or whatever, where they render 3D worlds that, you know, the player can move around in and do stuff. It's actually creating like a 3D world, simulating the physics, again, all sort of AI generated, and then sort of just putting a camera in there and flying around to create the illusion of movement. And if it was doing that, that would be actually pretty crazy.
Yeah. With the alternative being it just like generating frame after frame after frame based on the one before it, predicting kind of what, like how the image would change based on like whatever kind of movement parameters it has. But yeah, like that would be crazy if they're generating the scene.
Because one of the videos they put up was kind of like a ship bobbing on like
in teacup,
like a little miniature boat floating in a teacup. And looking at that and like the tea is sloshing around sort of realistically. It's a bit cartoonish, but like there's very clearly like some logical motion for how the tea is moving around the ship.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, is it just doing a frame by frame thing? Because it looked kind of like 3D-ish. It looked like they're something that was happening in a video game.
It looked very Unreal, but this is the other thing. People were like, maybe it's just because they just used Unreal Engine to just generate millions and millions of different examples, and that was like the training data set was basically like Unreal Engine. So we don't know. OpenAI...
How? Yeah, exactly. What more like closed AI?
They will obviously tell us soon, but well, regardless of what's going on, it's pretty impressive. It has some problems apparently with logic, and it showed some examples where like, Sam Altman used the example of like, for example, if it generates a woman taking a bite of a cookie, the woman will take a bite of the cookie, but when she removes the cookie from her mouth, it'll still be whole, like it won't have a bite taken out of it, like this kind of logic. And there were kind of other examples of that. You know, there was people pulling out the chair out of a beach, and the chair was just freaking out. To be perfectly honest, it looked cool, but like it looked weird.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And I actually think it's kind of a flex that they're doing, because they had on the page, as you mentioned, here are some examples of where it didn't work and they kind of fucked up and wasn't giving the right output. But even the mistakes kind of looked cool and seemed like they were simulating something that wasn't just generating images after image after image after image.
Yeah.
But like simulating some sort of process.
Yeah, like it had some kind of physics at play, which I guess is a big question. We probably hung on it too long because that's very nerdy shit.
It's very nerdy, but it goes to show if that's what they're doing, simulating a little three-dimensional world and then flying a camera through it, very different to just doing images. Also suggests that like their AI systems can sort of figure out the logic of physics and the logic of how light works and all that kind of thing. And another piece of evidence is they showed, like, did you see the Minecraft thing?
Oh, they simulated a Minecraft.
Yeah, they basically got the system to play Minecraft and got the system to create Minecraft as it sort of quote unquote remembered it as it was playing it, and it looked like Minecraft with like some weird little visual artifacts. There's more evidence for it being kind of like a simulated world. But the point is, if that's the way they've gone about it, then obviously that has more applications than just doing cool videos.
Yeah.
Like there's some other shit going on there. Yeah, so who knows what's going on there, but it's kooky. The other thing was, now that this is happening, you had a lot of AI thread guys, some of the lowest life forms on the planet.
Yeah.
So guys who spend all day on X talking about AI.
Refreshing and seeing number go up.
And then other like founders and people in Silicon Valley being like, this is the death of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood, why do we need Hollywood to be making movies when I can sit down in front of my laptop and punch in new Avengers movie, sick action scenes, no woke.
Yeah. Starship Troopers, no irony, all literal.
Yeah, like that kind of shit. And this is sort of like part of an ongoing little power struggle. I think we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, where it's kind of like there's a lot of guys who are super thrilled about AI art because it lets them feel the frisson of creation. Despite not having any like objective artistic skill.
Look at the cool thing I did.
I made this.
I
literally made this.
Yeah.
When I typed in like manga elf 4K huge cans, I made it.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of thing. Like guys who are just like, you know, I don't have a creative bone in my body. I'm a STEM guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a computer science student. I'm a programmer. That's its own kind of creativity, but it's not valued in society in the same way as being a filmmaker.
Yeah. So when I typed in...
But who had the last laugh?
Yeah. Coders are the Übermensch Soviet wave. And this poster came out, you know, that was genius.
Yeah, exactly.
I was genius.
Yeah, I literally made it. And you artists...
Yeah, you're fucked.
You're fucked. We're taking you out. It's just going to be programmers and guys sitting in front of OpenAI systems to create beautiful art. We don't need you anymore.
No, totally. I mean, I think that claims of Hollywood's demise are probably greatly overblown. Because again, like as I said, one of the key issues with this stuff right now, at least, but honestly, moving forward for a while, well, there's two key issues. One, we said this when images like generative images first came out. Like, you still need taste. At the end of the friggin' day, there are not very many examples of genuinely good AI art that people are selling for, hundreds of thousands of dollars, one of one only or whatever. I mean, I guess the NFT folk would be like,
actually, but,
yeah, exactly. But because like you still need to actually be good at this stuff, and the only people who have vaguely made a name for themselves in like the AI art space, well, typically it's like people who they understand what looks good. You still have to have taste. At the end of the day, you still have to have taste. 1, 2, the fact that you can't really edit these things is an issue. Like even if in a few years' time you will be able to, much like with LLMs now, you can get 1 million tokens or whatever, and it increases very quickly, and you probably will be able to put out an 1.5 hour long epic that you're like, sexy elf saved by normal looking programmer or whatever, who has actually got a really nice personality and is misunderstood. What feature film epic 4K buff?
Yeah,
but my face. And then it like spits out an 1.5 hours. Okay, like are you going to be like, okay, scene 3, actually make his dick bigger.
Like just add 3 inches. Yeah, the system's like burp. It's like 2 inches. It's like ding. No, but like, yeah. I mean, the thing that at first glance, you could be like, what are the things that people might actually use this for as it exists, and as I can imagine it existing in a few years. From the stuff they showed, where it's like as like a sweeping shot of some Californian coastline. It looked pretty real. Like it had the waves and like the nice old buildings. And I was like, okay, this looks. If I saw this, my brain would probably interpret it as real, at least for now.
Yeah.
You could see this as like a cost-saving thing, a documentary, maybe a feature, doing like B-roll and like establishing shots.
The number one place where this is going to be used as soon as it's live is just Facebook ads, right? Like,
for sure.
It's just going to like Facebook and YouTube ads for like every single drop shipping company and whatnot.
As AI image generation is being used for now.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Facebook.
That is like the number one place where this stuff will be used straight off the bat, is just to make ads as cheap as possible.
Yeah, maybe those Neom Instagram ads, I'm sure have a little bit of AI art going on in those.
Yeah.
So there's that. But the thing that really sort of makes me wonder what these people know what the fuck they're talking about. Who is going to watch? And this could be one of those things they'll play in a clip show when they're talking about like the history of AI art, as like an old archive thing of some moron who knew what he was talking about. But like, I find it the idea like repellent of watching a full 1.5 hour, 2 hour movie built off like a prompt. Maybe I can understand if it's like a guy who sat down and like.
What do you think his script is, bro?
Wow, that's huge.
Is that not just a prompt?
A script is a prompt. You're so right. Maybe, but again, even the idea is like a guy has sat down and like scene by scene generated a movie. Even that makes me go like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that shit.
Yeah.
Like there's an aspect of filmmaking and cinema where it's like real people were doing this.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of
It's
people.
why people still actually happen to go to the theatre. Not as many as used to, but they still do go.
And again, I may seem like, Yeah,
but I also think that, honestly, like, if we go back and we do a bit of friggin' art history and theory, like, the cinema exists because it was an experience to go to the movie theatre and sit down. And the reason they're not half an hour long and they're 1.5 hours is because of like the big experience, or the two. Some of them are longer, I've heard.
Yeah, you'd be right. Yeah.
It
still is. Yeah.
And like, but realistically, the most popular form of content right now is 30 seconds, 15-second long clips on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
10 minutes and below. So like, I just find it weird that people's minds go immediately to this like romantic idea of like a feature film that is going to be epic or whatever, and personalized. This is the thing, they're not even thinking personalized, right? They're thinking people are going to release blockbuster hits that are generated by AI, which is just the wrong paradigm to be thinking about any of this shit. It'll start. The beauty of it is there's like very limited marginal cost to creating bespoke pieces of video content.
Yep.
B, the thing it'll replace before it replaces, like woke Marvel movies or whatever, is like ASMR shit on,
for sure.
on like TikTok and whatnot. Like, that is where this starts. I mean, the thing that actually like my brain jumped to immediately was just kind of child entertainment, because it will definitely be happening somewhere. I think in many circles it will be seen as perverse, as it should be. But like already, the most popular videos on YouTube is like Baby Shark looped 8 hour long and this kind of crap. But like if you can just plonk an iPad in front of like a 3-year-old and with a camera on it that determines whenever their eyes start wandering and just like AI keep generating crap, I mean, that is, compelling. And you can see that, I use that as an example to like trickle up to 12-year-olds who, we show like porn adjacent, like repetitive flashing light colors, et cetera, to every person on earth where it's like insane crash videos for people who that's their thing.
That's their thing, yeah.
Or like people making witty replies and trolling cops for other people.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it's not immediately coming after the Hollywood slice, and the place that it's going to manifest is the vast preponderance of online internet content. But I think there's also just like a romantic view in the fact that it is still true that like TV shows and cinema are some of like the most highly valued bits of video content that gets put out.
Yes.
And also the biggest budget, the biggest profit, allegedly, you know. There's no other bit of video content out there.
Well, there's also like a universal experience.
It's a universal experience.
Which like we don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that many shared cultural moments anymore. No, we don't.
And like, even and one of the really telling moments about this is, when Mr. Beast did like the Squid Game video, which was like one of the ones that really broke him out. I don't know what it was, like 2 years ago, where he was like, I'm going to do Squid Game in real life. And everyone was talking about like, wow, he got 250 million views on something. And he just did it with like a low budget and compared to the real Squid Game show that Netflix put out. And then you're kind of like, yeah, but it wouldn't have worked unless the Netflix show existed originally. Like movies and TV shows drive so many like communal experiences. People like to go to the movies with people, sit in front of a big fucking IMAX screen or whatever, and wallow in watching, I don't know, Oppenheimer. And even if they don't watch it in a communal experience and they watch it on Netflix, you like to go online and talk about what you've seen. You like to talk with your friends about it.
People around you.
Go to the pub and talk about, did you watch the latest season of Stranger Things?
Yeah. Or
to be clear, I'm not talking about that with people at the pub.
Yes. Okay.
I would never be doing that.
Well, I wouldn't be part of that conversation because I've never seen shit. But yes, I get that the idea. I mean, sport is obviously exactly the same.
Sport's the same. Yeah.
It's like when people are talking about something, it's nice to know what they're talking about, and you want to share that.
It would be different. And again, I think people are really jumping the gun on like ultra personalized entertainment, at least for the near future. But like the idea of being like, imagine if someone sat you down and was like, I fucking watched this sick non-woke Avengers movie that I generated to my own taste.
Yeah, do you want to watch it?
Do you want to watch it? Because I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's got 18 views.
Yeah, I made it in Sora version 5.
Yeah.
And like, don't watch it when the kids are around. That's my only...
Or the miso. This is one for the VR headset.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like even hearing that, you're like, what the fuck? But I don't know. There's also a future where it's like, there are bigger accounts on YouTube. There's a huge amount of stuff going on YouTube that I have no insight into.
Yeah.
I barely understand Mr. Beast and all that kind of crap because of our wonderful episode of Mr. Beast. Please go and listen.
Yeah.
But it's possible that it's inevitable that the media environment gets even more fractured. And there's probably a world where, like, there is something with, like, that was generated with AI, maybe, that has, like, blockbuster aesthetics but was only watched by 500 people who like this particular type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way,
fanfic stuff.
In much the same way as what has happened to music, really, except music is obviously much lower budget, and you can spin up a track that people are going to love at low cost. It's probably one of the only media forms, apart from writing, and probably more so than writing, that has huge appeal, but you can really hit a niche. Video, unless it's like TikToks or whatever, is maybe a bit harder than that. But anyway, it's like who knows what is going to happen with AI video.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to become a part of everything. It is. Like, I truly believe like even if yes, people like those big shared experiences, but people also like dopamine hit from scrolling TikTok feeds.
Love that stuff.
And when it's cheaper, more readily available, more realistic, because it's only got don't think about it now. Don't think about how Jan LeCun replying to some bloke who was posting the ant going down an ant hole, being like, the ant's only got 4 legs. It's like, yeah, right now the ant's only got 4 legs, but next year
he'll have 6.
It'll have 14.
14 legs?
And it's the ants are just going to get more and more and more legs as this thing gets better and better. I assume that was his point.
I think it was his point. Every time OpenAI adds another 100,000 NVIDIA chips, the ant gets another pair of legs.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But no, this will all get better, and what that means, friggin' aren't all those Avenger films and everything just a bunch of actors dicking around in front of a green seat in morph suits or whatever?
They are. And this was the thing that I hate to reference it, but Grimes did a thread, and obviously Grimes is very bullish on all this sort of stuff and loves this kind of crap, and has always loved this kind of crap, even when she was putting out her first albums or whatever. But she was and I was I hate to agree, but she kind of
got to hand it to her.
Got to hand it to her, where she was the current Hollywood industry as it sort of exists is pretty busted. Everyone sort of agrees with that, where they really heavily index on doing remakes and shared universes and things like that, because it's the only way to get people to get bums in seats is show them something that they vaguely recognize, and they're like, I want to do it. And if you're someone who's coming up now who loves cinema, really hard to break into it. It's certainly not the industry it was 30, 40 years ago. How do you do it? This is the sort of thing that's going to liberate everything. It's going to create this explosion of creativity. Someone who wants to make a particular thing will be able to make it with access to AI, blah, 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 blah. And you hear that and you're like, sure, I get that. But it's also my main thing is we are just not prepared for the tidal wave of shit.
Yeah. The internet is the internet is over. AI generated crap has ruined the internet in the text format
already. Yeah,
already. It was ruined before that by low cost content, but now AI has made that
created zero cost content.
Yeah, and so the same thing is coming for just every platform,
for everything visual.
Yeah, we are going to be flooded with absolute shit, and the replies to your posts and whatnot are going to have words and images and whatnot that you're like, this is vaguely human. This is human sounding, but is this real? Am I why did you say that? And why did you phrase it like that? Should I respond to this, or are you literally just a bot?
Imagine a world where you post something on Twitter and the first reply is a guy that just instantly hits you with a 90-minute feature film presentation
based on your tweet
of you just getting destroyed.
At a podium just announcing the phrase that you've just said, Microsoft Teams is actually good, and just getting eviscerated and punished, and the whole world just yelling at you.
The whole world yelling at you, an Avengers Infinity War level CGI explosion fest of you being attacked and destroyed,
and then
shot.
And you rocking up to school but you're naked, the dream. But it's you see it viscerally, and everyone laughing at you,
and it's 90 minutes long and indistinguishable from reality.
Yeah.
That part of it could be funny. And let me say, I think that there's going to be a lot of funny stuff coming down the pipeline.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of laughs, the laugh density.
You think we're going to increase laugh density?
I think we will. This is one of my.
But will we be laughing together?
I don't know if we'll be laughing together. I think shared experiences are gone. It'll be completely atomized. It's one of my great theses is that the laugh density of life in 2024 would be way higher than any other time in history. The amount of lols that you will see, funny shit you would see on your phone.
Yeah, people are sadder yet laughing more.
I think we're laughing more.
So the doctors were wrong. Laughter is not the best medicine.
Imagine a guy living in the Indus Valley, 5000 BC. He's just discovered agriculture.
He's got to rely on just a mate falling over.
How many laughs would he have a day? How many funny things would be said to him or happen in his vicinity?
Not that many. You're dead right.
I reckon he would get 3 to 5 solid laughs a day.
3 to 5, you reckon?
If that. And keeping in mind his sense of humor would be different, he would have to find comedy and some other things. Some things that maybe we wouldn't find particularly funny, but he would find. Now you bust open Instagram, you bust open.
It's a riot.
X. It's a riot. You see the laughs. The density of laughs is high, and I think it's had a big effect in our society. Maybe not for the better.
No.
But I'm having a good time.
It's peaks and troughs, maybe. You know, it's like you take a pill on a Saturday and like, you crash on a Tuesday. That, but just like micronized.
Yeah, it's just like that, mate.